Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Ludwig Fischer, a former German politician and lawyer, appears in custody in 1947, shortly before serving a sentence imposed by an international court. The image was recorded in the context of the trials held after the Second World War. The warship HMS Warspite is shown in dry dock in 1916, revealing damage to its structure after being hit during naval combat. Technicians and engineers inspect the hull to assess the extent of the impact and begin repairs. An exhausted soldier remains on top of a disabled tank in a flooded area in the year 1945. Water covers part of the vehicle, while the man quietly observes his surroundings. Simo Häyhä, known as the White Sniper, appears in winter uniform during the conflict between Finland and the Soviet Union in the late 1930s. He is dressed in snow camouflage and holds his rifle, used in defensive missions. A group of Apache prisoners is portrayed in 1886, accompanied by American officers. They are positioned near a train that would be used for transport after the surrender. The Valdivia region in Chile, after the great earthquake and tsunami of 1960. Buildings and streets show signs of destruction, with residents and teams assessing the damage. The scene documents the most intense natural event ever recorded, which had a strong impact on the Chilean coast and led to the development of new studies on earthquakes and structural safety. The city of Galveston in Texas after the Great Storm of 1900. Buildings and streets appear damaged, while residents observe the scene and begin reconstruction work. A city appears severely damaged after a disaster that occurred in the early 20th century. Buildings and streets were widely affected, with much of the urban area destroyed. Vesna Vulovic, a flight attendant, is portrayed in 1972 after surviving a serious plane accident. She is smiling, showing strength and remarkable recovery after the event. An instrument known as rozhgi is shown in 1898, originally used in prisons in Siberia. The object is made of long, flexible rods made from braided wood. Fire trucks appear completely covered in ice in Boston in the year 1920. The icing occurred after fighting a large fire in extremely low temperatures. A snowstorm strikes New York City during the Great Blizzard of 1888. The streets are covered by thick layers of snow, with streetcars, poles, and buildings almost completely buried. A severe snowstorm completely covers streets and houses in the state of Nebraska in 1949. Snow piles up in large mounds while people and vehicles try to move through the frozen scene. An automobile accident that occurred in the Netherlands in 1914 shows an early vehicle overturned at the edge of a road. People observe the scene and check the condition of the car, which shows damage to the front. An employee cleans the main hall of the New York Stock Exchange the day after the Wall Street crash in 1929. The floor is covered with discarded papers and documents while the setting remains quiet after days of intense activity. Workers clean the facade of the Old Bailey building in London in the year 1930. They are suspended by ropes and simple platforms at great height without modern safety equipment. Construction workers balance on high scaffolding during building work in New York in the year 1929. They perform tasks at great heights without the use of modern safety equipment. Workers carry out the painting of the Eiffel Tower on an unspecified date. They are positioned at different levels of the metal structure using ropes and scaffolding to reach the highest areas. An experimental airship flies over England in 1917 in a time before the adoption of enclosed cockpits. The pilot and crew are exposed, positioned beneath the main structure of the aircraft. A ball turret gunner inside a bomber is shown during the 1940s. He occupies a small circular pod located on the underside of the aircraft, equipped with controls and machine guns. Two machine gun operators position themselves on the sides of a B-17 bomber during the Second World War. They are equipped with helmets and flight suits, prepared to watch the sky through the aircraft's side windows. A supermarine walrus amphibious airplane is prepared for a catapult launch training from the ship HMS Pegasus in 1942. The aircraft is launched by a mechanical system that propels it to about 68 miles per hour. A historical record from 1906 shows an independent farmer confronted by a group of organized tobacco producers known as the Night Riders. The episode occurred during disputes over trade and agricultural prices in the southern United States. An oil platform worker takes a lunch break at an oil field in East Texas in 1939. He is seated on a metal beam holding his meal, with the rig structure in the background. Patients of St. Thomas's Hospital rest in beds outdoors on the banks of the River Thames in 1936. The medical staff believed that fresh air and natural light contributed to the recovery of those admitted. A woman in China in the late 19th century shows the effects of a traditional custom that consisted of binding the feet from childhood. She is seated wearing clothing typical of the period, with small footwear adapted to this practice. A newborn is fed in an improvised way in 1927 with the help of a goat under adult supervision. The scene was recorded in a rural context, when alternative methods of infant care were common due to the lack of modern resources. The Windsor Swastikas hockey team poses for a photo in Canada in 1912. The players wear uniforms with the swastika symbol, which at the time represented luck and prosperity. Amelia Earhart gives a flying lesson in 1933 beside her airplane. She speaks with a student while explaining piloting and safety procedures. The scene shows Earhart's inspiring role in aviation, highlighting her dedication to teaching and encouraging new generations of pilots in a time of great aerial achievements. E. Lillian Todd appears next to her creation, the first airplane designed and built by a woman in 1906. She stands near the aircraft structure, which has rectangular wings and a wooden frame. A Ferrari racing car transporter is seen during the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort in the year 1960. The truck carries Formula One models carefully lined up, ready for competition. Alfred Hitchcock watches the set closely during the filming of the movie The Birds in 1963. He is focused on production details, accompanied by members of the technical crew. Alfred Hitchcock appears at 24 years of age in 1923. He wears a dark suit and poses with a serious expression, characteristic of formal portraits of the period. The scene shows the future director at the beginning of his career, before becoming one of the most influential names in the history of cinema. Diane Belmont, the stage name used by Lucille Ball at the beginning of her career, appears in 1940 as a Broadway performer. She wears elegant attire and poses with a confident expression, reflecting the theatrical style of the time. Colonel Harlan Sanders appears in 1955 wearing his traditional white suit and black tie. He holds a bucket with his brand's logo, which would become known worldwide as Kentucky Fried Chicken. George Herman Babe Ruth, at 16 years of age, is photographed at St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys in 1911. He appears wearing the school baseball team uniform, where he began to develop his athletic skills. Andre the Giant greets admirers in 1970, standing out for his impressive height and physical presence. He smiles while speaking with people around him, creating a friendly and striking moment. General Tom Thumb and Lavinia Warren pose at their wedding in 1863, wearing formal and elegant attire. The couple, known for their performances in the show of P.T. Barnum, became one of the most famous pairs in 19th century entertainment. The first recorded photograph of the flag known as the Star-Spangled Banner, which inspired the national anthem of the United States. The banner appears spread out, showing its original stars and stripes preserved over time. An exhausted soldier remains on top of a disabled tank in a flooded area in the year 1945. Water covers part of the vehicle, while the man quietly observes his surroundings. The Studley tool chest, created by H.O. Studley between 1890 and 1920, is shown open, revealing its perfectly organized interior. Each tool has a precise slot in a wooden panel decorated with mother-of-pearl and metal details. A steamer trunk made in 1890 is shown opened and converted into a portable dresser. The piece contains drawers, shelves, and built-in hanging rods, allowing the traveler to store clothing without having to unpack. A motorhome built from a massive Douglas fir log is displayed in Seattle in the year 1920. The vehicle was carved directly from the wood, with doors, windows, and wheels adapted to function on roads. Lufthansa flight attendants serve draft beer to passengers during a flight in the 1960s. A small keg is used to fill the glasses, offering a distinctive service experience on board. Two motorcycles race a sailboat over the ice in the harbor of Toronto in 1912. The riders drive their bikes at high speed while the boat glides, driven by the wind. Workers of the Mount Washington Railway in New Hampshire descend the mountain after a workday in 1866. They use small wooden boards to slide along the tracks, taking advantage of the slope as a quick way to return. Members of the detachment known as the Buffalo Soldiers conduct a bicycle patrol in Yellowstone National Park in 1896. They wear military uniforms and ride bicycles loaded with travel gear. Buffalo Bill poses next to indigenous leaders in 1895. They are dressed in ceremonial clothing and uniforms characteristic of the traveling Wild West show. The scene represents the meeting of cultural traditions and the popular entertainment of the time, when live presentations showed the public idealized aspects of the American West. Father Damien appears at the Molokai colony in Hawaii, where he dedicated his life to caring for people living in social isolation in the 19th century. He is dressed in simple missionary clothing, surrounded by community residents. The lawn known as Sheep Meadow, located in Central Park in Manhattan, is shown in 1887. In the background of the image appears the famous Dakota Building, still new, with its striking architecture. The ships HMS Victoria and HMS Wellington are anchored on the River Thames in London in the year 1890. The large vessels appear side by side, with tall masts and naval flags. A Fordson tractor adapted with a sidecar is used in Victoria, Australia, during the 1930s. The modified vehicle combines agricultural and automotive parts, serving for transport in rural areas. The Signet rear car model, designed to be attached to Harley-Davidson and Indian motorcycles, is presented in 1913. The accessory could be detached from the main vehicle in only 30 seconds, making it easier to carry passengers or cargo. A man uses a two-wheeled personal transport during the Victorian period, visually resembling a precursor to the modern Segway. The vehicle has a simple metal frame and is powered by manual or mechanical force. Victorian exercise equipment is displayed in 1892 with a metal frame and complex pulleys. A person demonstrates its use, adjusting levers and cables to move the body. An unusual portrait from 1880 shows a person posing with a curious object of unidentified function. The details of the setting and clothing reflect the photographic style of the late 19th century. A show performer appears on a stage next to a child who watches attentively. The setting is a fair or audience space, with scenic elements and spectators in the background. People have fun on a ride called the Surf Whirligig in Chicago in the year 1921. Participants stand on boards attached to a rotating structure, simulating the movement of waves. A cyclist rides along a street in Amsterdam in the Netherlands in 1925, with a child seated in a mount installed on the front of the bicycle. The support is made of metal and wood and attached to the handlebars, reflecting the simple and functional style of the time. 152 black cats take part in a casting test for the movie Tales of Terror in Hollywood in the year 1961. The animals are lined up in an outdoor area, watched by trainers and members of the production team. The famous moving stone of Tandil in Argentina is shown balanced on a rocky slope in 1890. The enormous granite block remained supported in an apparently unstable way, becoming a natural attraction of the region. The homing pigeon named Charlie appears wearing the Purple Heart Medal, received for its service during a mission in Metz, France in 1944. The bird stands on a small perch with the medal attached to its chest. An experimental boat equipped with a 360 horsepower engine is tested in Detroit, Michigan in 1940. The craft shows an aerodynamic design and a light structure developed to reach high speed in water operations. Workers perform tasks on one of the upper floors of the Empire State Building during its construction in 1931. They are on elevated platforms with New York City visible in the background. The woman learns to ride a bicycle in 1895, balancing while holding the handlebars. She wears a long dress and a hat, typical of late 19th century fashion. Competitors take part in a motorcycle sidecar race in 1950. The rider drives the bike while the partner leans to balance the vehicle in the turns. The scene highlights the combination of speed, technique, and teamwork characteristic of this kind of competition, popular in post-war motor events. An automatic machine for selling hot sausages is installed in a railway station in Germany in 1931. The metal equipment offers quick meals to passengers, allowing them to choose and take the food in a practical way. A beggar runs alongside a carriage on the streets of London in 1920. The man tries to attract the attention of the passengers while the vehicle moves along a busy road. Technicians work in the internal compartment of a Boeing B-29 Superfortress bomber. They adjust equipment and check mechanisms located in the central area of the aircraft. A Murmillo-type gladiator helmet, about 2,000 years old, was discovered in the ruins of the gladiators' barracks in Pompeii in 2009. The artifact shows ornate metal details and is remarkably well preserved. Platform shoes worn by Humphrey Bogart during the filming of the movie Casablanca are displayed. The actor used this footwear in scenes alongside Ingrid Bergman, who was about 2 centimeters taller, approximately 8/10 of an inch. A Stagecoach and an American Airlines DC-3 airplane take part in a promotional event in 1949. The event compares traditional overland transport with the new airmail service. Police officer Pat Johnson of the Los Angeles Police Department appears in 1971 next to an improvised cradle made to shelter an abandoned baby. The cradle was assembled with simple materials, demonstrating care and a quick response by the team. Baby carriages are stored in an external compartment of a bus in Opawa, New Zealand, in the year 1950. The carriages are carefully lined up before families board. American soldiers provide care to a dog on the Arot Peninsula in Guam in the year 1944. They gather around the animal, showing care and attention. The scene shows a moment of compassion and connection between human beings and animals in a challenging situation. A circus acrobat demonstrates strength and balance during a performance in the 1920s. He holds weights and strikes an athletic pose, wearing the typical show costume of the period. Thomas Higginson and his daughter pose on a bicycle of unusual design in 1884. The vehicle has a large front wheel and a raised seat, typical of the earliest bicycle models. A couple poses for a Victorian-style wedding photograph on an unknown date and in an unknown location. The groom displays a large mustache, characteristic of men's fashion of the period, while both wear detailed formal attire. A serviceman says goodbye to his family before departure in 1939. He leans down to embrace his small child in a scene captured amid troop movements. The image represents the human impact of mobilizations of that period, showing family bonds in a time of uncertainty. A person closely observes the surface of a lake in Manchester, New Hampshire, in the year 1930. The person leans toward the water, trying to see whether the lake is frozen. Behind the scenes of the filming of The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 show the character Darth Vader in a relaxed moment on the set. Behind him, crew members adjust scenery and props, including mattresses used for comfort and safety during filming. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.